entering the transfer portals. Why did you want to do this? He's still getting hair on his chest. Like he still ain't got a shave yet. Like
facility of fake ass time.
Welcome back to another episode of the Track World News Podcast. I'm your host, Colin Williamson, here with our distinguished guest, Mr. Noah Williams. Noah, how you doing today, brother?
Hey, brother. Blessed and highly favored, man. Ready to talk some more track. We got some more exciting stuff that just happened over the holiday weekend, man. I'm ready to get into it. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. We had some good time off of work, spending time with family. I was talking to you earlier. One of the gifts I was excited about, you guys probably can see it in the show, is this new camera that I'm rocking. So shout out Mama Waits for getting me this new camera. So excited there. Bring some more high quality. Always trying to improve here, give you guys some good stuff. And a couple other good things. So it's always great to take some time away. Like I was telling you earlier, I'm getting into the smoothie gang, man. I know you're the king of them. What's your favorite flavor or your favorite recipe for smoothies right now? I'm starting to get into it. I know you're coming out with your book soon, so I don't want to spoil too much, but
for sure. Yeah, for sure. So, Book of Abundance, the hardcover will be coming out soon for those of you that are tapping in. But we do have the ebook available on my Instagram at the moment. But my favorite flavor right now is this chocolate peanut butter banana joint I've been doing. You know what I mean? It's a little that's like my nighttime snack. You know what I mean? A little chocolate peanut butter banana. So, you know me. I like to keep it healthy. Like the juices, like the smoothies. So I'm glad that you got your little blender, man. I'm glad you're tapping in, brother.
Oh yeah, no, we're good. We're good now. I was like I was telling you, I got on that scale. I was like, man, I'm seeing numbers I don't want to see. So we're changing the lifestyle a little bit. We're in the gym now. I'm about to hit the gym right after this. So we're getting back into it, man. Got to get that track. By the time we're gonna be looking good by the time summer track comes through. So we gotta start changing stuff up. So
straight shirtless interviews, bro. Shirtless interviews. That's how we coming.
That'd be crazy. Just popping up to interviews, just no shirt, just hey, hi. Oh, that'd be something. That'd be something.
Yeah, that's a trademark.
Yeah. What about you, bro? How's your holiday, everything for you?
Holiday was great, bro. I had a little kickback. I hosted at my crib for the first time. Had my pops come through, a couple of my training partners, some friends and stuff. It was cool, man. My best gift that I got was actually this thing that you put on the wall where you don't lose your keys. I mean, you come in the house, you put your keys on it, you put your wallet there, everything. Because I lose my keys every day. My dad was just tired of it, so he got me one of them. Got a nice set of knives. You feel me? It's adult shit. You know what I mean? So it's cool. I'm appreciative of all that. But more than anything, it was just spending time with people that I love. You know what I mean? That's kind of what the holidays is all about. So
yeah, no, I feel you. It's good. Ending 2024 off, and it's you're getting old when you start getting excited about knives and cameras. It's oh wait, where's the Power Rangers? Where are the action figures? I was dang, this is weird. I'd get pans, and I'm oh hell yeah, I got a pan pans. I'm
yeah.
I'm thinking what 10-year-old Colin would be so angry at me right now, hearing that I'm excited about this stuff.
Yeah. Bro, and I got 2 packs of socks, bro. Oh my goodness, you don't know how bad I needed new socks, bro. It's crazy. So it's all love, man. People that you love giving you stuff, and it's cool.
There you go. So we're wrapping up. Well, I guess last one before we get into the track stuff. Wrapping up 2024. This will be the last episode that we have before 2025. What would you say how would you rank your 2024? Within everything of this was a 10 out of 10 year, 4 out of 5, whatever it is. And what are you most looking forward to in 2025, whether it's personally, professionally, whatever it may be?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I think 2024 was the best year of my life, all things considered. I really grew in my faith. I grew as an athlete. I grew as a person, as a man. So those things I'm really, really grateful for. I didn't have the success on the track that I thought I would. Obviously, I had a major surgery, but all things considered, I'm just really grateful for 2024. And then headed to 2025, I'm just excited to continue to strengthen my relationship with God, get back on the track, bust some heads like I'm supposed to, and continue to be the guy that I want to be. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. But what about yourself, man?
Yeah, 2024 was cool. I, in my professional life, I was able to take the next steps in my career. Was promoted to, just recently, which was really good. So thank you, thank you. That was always exciting, and we're now starting to see a lot of that stuff that I've been working on really come to fruition. These last few games and everything have been the three best games that we've had of the entire year since I've been there. So being able to make that impact personally, like got to meet like so many new people and new friends along the way. Like I wasn't like I have two older brothers, but they're much older than me. They're like in their 40s, and so I've always kind of felt like an only child, and like they're
Mhm.
half brothers, so I've always kind of felt like it because they've been doing their own thing like my entire life pretty much. And so I was like I've always been like really used to just like kind of like be chilling on my own. Like I'm just like I'm fine with it. And so
Yep.
it's nice to kind of break out of the shell a little bit more. I'm connecting with a lot more people, and from the track space, I mean, we did some great coverage for the Olympics for 2024, which I was really excited about. Got some good, worked with some really great people, and it's. I think we got a good direction of where I think this track world news thing could potentially head. So overall, I'd say it was great. What I'm looking forward to in 2025 is expanding a lot of that, and just continuing to grow personally and professionally, and hopefully within this track thing, be able to do some more in-person interviews. We did a couple of those. Those did really well, and getting boots on the ground at some more meets, that would be great. And making some more content with you, man. Like these are fun. I look forward to these every Sunday. So
Real
when we
talk, bro. I woke up this morning just geeked up. Like, oh, yeah, we shooting that 10, bro. Let's get it.
it's exciting. So good stuff. Good stuff. So hopefully everyone listening, you guys are going to have you had a great 2024, and it should be a great 2025 as well. So with that being said, let's get into this track and field stuff. So I guess 2 days ago, we had some breaking news we released here on Track World News. Always great to be a part of that. To be determined. We released that, and if you check on our post on Instagram, the comment section's going crazy with people throwing up the lions emojis, dogs, gators, all that stuff. Every school under the sun is being shouted out there, and some background on Favour, like what is this guy? What caliber is this dude? 994, 100-meter runner, 6'5", 60-meter runner, national champion in the 60, three-time final or medalist in the 100-meter at NCAAs. Just an absolute talent when it comes to this track and field stuff. Like this is, I would say, we don't have like star recruits in track and field, but if there were, Favour is a 5-star recruit that's transferring. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Favor, somebody that I've seen in the collegiate circuit for years be at the top. Even I think from his freshman year, he was at the top of the game. So I could tell he had problems, not problems, because he's been a finalist tons of times, but not necessarily winning that 100-meter outdoor. I think that's like the highly coveted thing that he's looking to do. I'm sure that's probably going into why he's transferring. But this is the top dog. This is the Travis Hunter. This is the number one pick here in the transfer portal. So wherever he goes is going to definitely make a big change in the NCAA. So hopefully he goes to LSU. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I mean this is interesting because we talked about this. What was it, like 2 weeks ago when we saw that Justin Braun was in the portal like during the season. Like we don't usually see this where, I mean, at this point the track season, like people have ran collegiate leading times already. Like the season is in full swing, and we're now seeing the biggest name that there really could not be much of a bigger name to transfer like entering the portal now. Like what do you think might be changing as to why we're seeing this, or why do you think this is happening now instead of him entering the portal at the end of last year or maybe before the season? I mean, I'm not too sure what I can't remember what the time frames are for when you can enter, but why do you think we're seeing this now?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a variety of things, but I mean, for somebody that's transferring in the middle of the year, it's got to be about capitalizing on the end of their eligibility. Like, oh, I don't trust this coach's program. I don't trust the program in itself, where we're headed, I gotta make this change now because I only have one more season left, or I only have two more seasons left. So it's probably best for these athletes in their heads to get out of that situation ASAP. So like you said, I mean, when I was in college, still it was kind of unprecedented for people to transfer in the middle of the year, but I mean, it's becoming more and more common, man. You got the big hitters doing it, and there's some smaller guys doing it too. So, we'll see what type of effect that has and how successful they are in these new programs. But yeah, maybe Favor Ash is a new trailblazer.
Yeah, it was shocking to me to see that was coming through. And I mean, I know that Auburn isn't known for sprinting, I guess you would say, necessarily, but they have a pretty, I mean, their head coach of Burrell. I think Burrell's still there, right? Leroy. So it's like, they've got a guy who's just coming from Houston that, obviously, they're known for their sprinting capabilities over there at Houston. And so it's interesting to see where they're not, that he's leaving. So I'm wondering, there's a couple of reasons I guess you could see, like, one, like maybe you don't see a great fit from a coaching standpoint, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like you want a new person to be coaching you. Two, it could be I don't know, maybe socially there's stuff going on behind the scenes that it's like, who knows what's going on behind the scenes where it's like, hey, this just isn't a good fit for me socially. And then maybe that third one, and I'm curious on your opinion if you think this is taken into consideration. But NIL now is like massive, and is it like I don't know where it was when you were in college for track athletes, but I know obviously with football, we're seeing colleges and give millions of dollars to football players. Now, track and field is nowhere near that right now. Obviously, we're not even close. But do you think that is playing a factor nowadays with someone that is this big, where NIL is finally getting to these athletes, or is it not? Do you not think it's impacting just yet?
With track and field, I don't think it's too impactful unless you're like, you know, a high schooler coming out with 100,000 followers already. Then I think you'll be more attractive in the NIL space. But just a regular athlete that's running fast times, I don't think that NIL would have much of an influence. Now, I don't know. Maybe the University of Arkansas has a $2 million NIL pool for their track athletes. You never really know with these programs, but I wouldn't count it out. Let's say that. But there's actually one more thing that might have played influence in him transferring. Like, what if he got kicked out? What if he got kicked off the team? Like, I don't want to say like speak that negativity on him, but that's also a thing. Like, I've been on multiple college teams where men, women, they might break a team rule and that's it. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of different factors that could go into this. But on the other side of it, we're just wishing him the best that he can succeed because he's a fun athlete to watch. And he was one of my picks last year. I thought I might have taken him to win the NCAA in the 100. So whatever the reason is, I just hope that the outcome is good, is positive.
Yeah, the Nigerian Nightmare, definitely the best nickname in track right now. That's a pretty cold nickname. That's a pretty cold
Yeah,
nickname.
that's fire. That's fire.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, yeah, I mean that could definitely be a factor. I mean, we didn't talk about it too much, and I won't go into it because I don't have the full story. But there was the incident that he had, I guess, right before during the indoor season of
Hmm.
he ran into some trouble, and so maybe that played a factor of the coaching staff of being like, like we don't know if we want this on the team. I'm not sure. So yeah, that definitely could be a thing. Just like, hey, this is no longer a right fit for us, whether it's on the
Yeah.
team side or it's on the athlete side. But with that being said, now where do we think he'll go? Okay, so we got to get three from you because we know what one of them is going to be. We know you're going to say LSU. What? So I guess what ones do you think he'll go to? What schools would you like to see him at? And like what's the reason why behind it that you think they may go to a certain place?
Yeah, if you want a safe bet as a sprinter in college, Florida's always going to be a safe bet, right? So the University of Florida, I think, is one. A school that always has money and is throwing money at athletes is the University of Arkansas, still in the SEC, still a very competitive school. I think they'll be in contention. And then obviously LSU is probably the most highly touted, historically rich university when it comes to sprints and also when it comes to marketing, because we all know like the LSU track and field page does a really good job of pushing and promoting their athletes. So those three are probably the hottest three. And then if I had to throw a wild card in there, I'd probably put the University of Tennessee with
Well,
uh,
he came from there originally. You think he's going to go
oh
back?
shit. So I don't think
Yeah.
he was there with the new regime though. Was he there with with
This will be a
Ross?
new, with Ross. He was, I think he was there the very last year. Like his last year, I think, I can't remember the timing. He was either there for like his last year was with Ross, or he transferred out right after Ross. I can't remember, but
So something
that would
like
be, maybe go back to
2000,
Tennessee.
maybe.
For me, I think you hit the nail on the head with some of the top dogs. I mean, Florida, that would be like they would be getting two of the biggest sprinting transfers that we've seen with Justin and with Favour. So that would be pretty huge. And who knows, maybe they do have some of that money still, available.
Hmm.
One that you didn't mention that I got to go through would be Florida State. We've seen
Mm.
Florida State get some really big transfers over the years. They've had a couple big guys. So I think that we could see Florida State potentially being one that's going to do well. And then another one that I'll go through that wasn't mentioned. I'd say Alabama.
Mm.
I think in Alabama, with Taurus or Taurus,
Tarsus,
uh,
yeah.
Tarsus, yeah. I think that would be a potential, good one of like, hey, you have a really good training partner that you'd be going alongside. I could see that going well. And then if I'm saying a wild card where I don't think that it'll happen, but man, I would love to see this 4x1. I'd say USC. Um, I'd really want to see because Makai Williams is coming back, and he's with USC. I love Makai. I think he's an awesome guy. And so I want to see him and Favour on that same 4x1. Bro, that would be deadly. Having two 9, 9, 9, 8 guys on the same 4x1. I don't know who the other two people are because they graduated. Johnny, I think, last year. But I think that would be my like a who could we potentially see out there. So
That would actually be a really, really interesting 4x1 and team in general out there with Coach Watts. That's not a bad pick to be a wild card for sure.
there you go. We'll have to see. It's gonna be a lot. I'm sure there's a ton of people in the DMs. I mean, break it down for what it was like for you and for the people watching. What is he go like? What's he going through right now? What's it like? I'm sure it's probably like you like that Instagram model who you took all your pictures of your boyfriend off of Instagram. So I'm sure you got all the like you got all the guys coming after you, man. It's like, well, wait a minute. This photo ain't there anymore. You got people in the DMs. What's that like right now? What's he going through at this moment?
Yeah, man. I mean, I can only speak on my experience with transferring, and I wasn't nearly at the prowess that Favor is right now. But I remember the moment I entered the portal, I was in Akron and I drove home. I drove back to New York, and on my way there, I must have got about like 10 phone calls, tons of emails, tons of DMs from every school. Coaches just really glazing you for real, like trying to say anything they can to get you on their team. So if Favor, you watching this right now, bro, don't take the rat poisoning. That's what I call it, is rat poisoning. So they're definitely gonna call. I'm sure his phone is ringing off the hook right now. And it's probably like that was probably the most hectic time for me as a collegiate athlete was my time during in the transfer portal, because you get a lot of proposals, a lot of things that sound really really good from tons of universities, every college that you probably could have ever dreamed of going to. You know what I mean? So for him, I mean, he already did the transfer thing once, so I'm sure he's a little accustomed to it. But it can get crazy for sure.
Is that I mean that's got to be like so what do you mean by like the rat poison of things? Like so people just
Hmm.
telling you what you want to eat like well what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, these coaches are going to talk to you like your shit don't stink, right? Like, oh, we need you. We love to have you here. We got all this money for you. And then as time goes on, you'll kind of see that, those are false promises. They can't really follow up on what they're talking about and what they're promising to you. So you kind of got to really be particular with who you talk to and who you give your time to, because the school I ended up going to, LSU, they probably promised me the least. They were like, look, man, you know what we're all about. We got this much money for you. If you want to come on a visit, that's great. If not, that's cool too. But we want you here and we think we can get you better. Right. So that for me, that's all I wanted to hear. But all these, I was a couple other schools, actually, Alabama, right? You know what I mean? Alabama told me, they called me on the phone. They said, we got X amount of money for you, right? And it was like an absolute max scholarship, more money than every other school was offering for me. So I started kind of like cutting everybody off. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to go to Alabama. It's gonna be cool. And maybe a day or two before I was gonna sign, they called me. They was like, okay, we got this much money for you now. And it was less than a third than what they had initially told me, right? Actually, I'll just say the numbers. I remember they was like, we'll give you a full scholarship and you'll get $1,900 a month for living allowance. And I'm like, oh shit, like that's fire, bro. Let's get it. And then when they called me back, they was like, we got like 450 for you a month for living allowance. I was like, whoa, like you can't flip the script like that. And honestly, like if you told me 450 from the jump, I still might have considered coming here. But it's just the fact that you went back and reneged on your word. So it's just a lot of tomfoolery, let's say. You know what I mean? A lot of tomfoolery, a lot of bullshit going on with that stuff. So like I said, that's what the rat poisoning would look like.
Dang, that's wild. Like, so they similar like scholarship, but the living allowance, are like, hey, we're changing this up on you. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so there, yeah, I could imagine that there's probably a lot of that sort of stuff of just like, hey, we giving you, whatever it is, and just
Yeah.
hoping that you don't change. So was anyone, because if you said that you kind of cut everyone off when you were going and looking at Bama, so then were any of the schools like kind of like, nah, you haven't talked to us for the last 2 weeks or whatever, like we don't want you anymore, because they like maybe they noticed you were giving, like you weren't talking to them as much, or was that not really a problem and people were still, interested anyway?
I think the only school that really kind of played their hand similar to that was USC. I remember they were on the fence between me and another athlete, a distance athlete. I don't remember his name, but they were like, "Hey, you got to give us an answer by like Friday, and if you don't, we're gonna go the other direction." And I was like, "Okay, I mean, you're not gonna pressure me to sign fast, so I'm gonna still take my time. If you want to go that route, go that route." But obviously, it still ended up working in my favor, not so much in theirs. But that's neither here nor there, bro. But yeah, like coaches, they're gonna try their negotiation tactics and whatever they can, because at the end of the day, like you as an athlete, you're an asset to them. Like I know we need them as well as athletes to have a platform and to pursue a degree, but for these coaches to keep their jobs, especially at these big universities, they need to win, they need to compete, and they need to assemble the best team that they can. So if you're an athlete like a Favor, like a Braun, you kind of got to understand that, like understand how valuable of an asset you will be to this university, and that they sometimes need you more than you need them, and just using that power to your advantage, using that leverage to your advantage. I think that's something that I did pretty well. Like I didn't let a coach or a program kind of bitch me or hold me in one way or another. You know what I mean? I kind of stood my ground and understood like I'm gonna come and make your team better. So that's kind of the cards that you got to play.
That's some good spitting game, some insight. I didn't know that was the whole how the whole thing would go down. So yeah, I can imagine like, coming in as the guy right now too, of like that, take all of that, and then it's like I'm sure there's so much just like deception or just like things that'll change on you, especially like with this being in the season where a lot of the money's probably already been allocated. So they're trying to do tricks of like, oh, maybe like, can we take it from here, take it from there? Or, hey, we can't give you scholarship for the first half of this first semester, but we can give you, NIL. And then, but that's not guaranteed. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's probably a lot of stuff. And like, I'm seeing it, especially if you're just doing it on your own. Like, it's not like in the pros, you got like an agent for you. Like, this was just you and your family that was going through this transfer stuff. Like, or did you have anyone like there to help you with going through it?
Nah, it was just me, bro. It was just me. I mean, nobody in my life had ever been in my shoes, because I transferred the first year that the transfer portal was a thing, so like no, I was really no guidance, you know what I mean? I just tried to play it like a businessman would play it. That was kind of my mindset. But and when you spoke on that with schools not necessarily having scholarship money, and speaking on like, oh, we'll give you NIL, and that's really a thing, bro. Like I actually know a couple people that communicated these problems to me at a couple different universities, where they said, okay, we don't have scholarship money, but we'll give you the same amount in NIL. They sign, and then there's no NIL. They're having to take out loans. They're having to do all this unnecessary stuff, all because the coach was a little bit shady, moving a little bit funny. And it happens, man. It's a shady business, unfortunately, So I don't think Favor's gonna have to worry about that, though, to be honest.
Yeah, now he'll probably be straight. I'm sure he's getting the max, the 1 year max contract, whatever that's going to be. Like it's going to be, hey, can I get you, how can I, maybe it's 10, it's some crazy numbers, I'm sure, but exciting. We'll see where he's going to end up, but crazy stuff. So if anyone wants to drop game, any athletes that are transferring, and you let us know, hey, estimated NIL of this amount, let me know. We'll spit some game, reset the market, help get you guys some more money. So we'll be like the NBA here. So because we can't do that with contracts in track, unfortunately. So help us with NIL. Be like, oh, breaking news, $50,000 in NIL. Who knows? We'll let you know.
Hey, but aren't you the first one to break the Favour Ashe news?
Yeah, that was exciting. So like being the first one to break that, like that's what I get excited about, of like being able to do these things and hopefully become a group that people want to come through and connect with and building relationships with and talk to and be there's a lot of like that's an interesting thing about being in this track media space, and I'm sure we can talk about it a lot in another episode too, of like the relationships are so important. Like there's a lot of news and insight and things that I know that we don't share with people because the timing isn't right. The athlete may not, the relationship's important. Like there's a lot of things. I mean, we were talking a little while ago, about some stuff like, and so it's just like, and so connecting with them and connecting with people that are involved in a lot of these situations of just like hey, what's the timing? How can we help each other? What's the news? What do we do? How do we roll this out? Like I've been lucky enough to work with a good amount of athletes as they go through it. Not you, Noah. You didn't tell me when you were going pro, so I had to figure that crap out on my own. But outside of that, we've been able to work well with a lot of these college athletes. So any college athletes and anybody that's working, like I definitely want to help you guys, tell your story and break your news and share that stuff with you. So it's cool, man.
For sure. We're gonna start calling you the Adam Schefter of the track and field world, bro.
So we're trying to do, man. Cool. Now that kind of, I guess, good transfers into what you wanted the next topic that we had for you. You want to kind of share what you had for the people?
Yeah, I think this year we started to see a little bit more athlete empowerment and athletes controlling their own narratives, right? Whether that be with a podcast like Noah Lyles, Ry Benjamin, and Grant Holloway did. They started their off the record
Beyond
podcast.
the Records.
Beyond the Records. Sorry, guys. Beyond the Records podcast. So I think it's just really important for athletes to be able to control their own narratives, right? So you might hear a lot of things in the news or in social media or just amongst your peers about a certain athlete or person and how something might have taken place, but there's no better source than hearing it from the athlete themselves. And I think we as track athletes are starting to understand that and get our opinions out, get our facts out, and control the narratives, because it could go a lot of different ways, man, if you don't do those type of things, right? So, like, for example, right, Noah with COVID, it breaks that Noah has COVID when he got third in the 200 at the Olympics, and now Twitter's speculating if it's real, if it's not real, but Noah has the platform, he has the power to take a picture of his positive COVID test and show the world what's going on with that, so he can kind of control the misunderstandings or where things might get misconstrued. So and I'm happy that he has the podcast. I want more people to get on podcasts and get on these shows and really just speak their truth. Now, me, not to toot my own horn, but I am the first track and field athlete, I believe, in the pro circuit to be on the podcast. You know what I mean? So y'all could just follow my lead with that. But yeah, man, it's just something that I really, really want these guys to do and to continue doing. Like even like an Aaron Brown, right? Like I know he's in our comment section pretty often, but I'm glad that he, as a athlete and a fan of the sport, can control his own narrative and do those things as well. So I think it's a dope thing, and I just want everybody to continue doing that and to get those false rumors and all that stuff out of the mix.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I've had a couple people that have reached out to me recently about like the Noah Rye Grant Holloway podcast of like, oh man, are these like people asking like, are these rivals of you guys? Are they like, do you like them? Is there bad blood? I'm like, first off, like, no, not at all. Like I listen to every single show. In fact, I give some feedback to them if they're listening, or if this is a clip that we'll post. Like I want them to post their shows in the morning. Like they post them Thursday at like 7 p.m. I hate that. I want them to post it Thursday at like 6 a.m. so I can listen to it on my ride to work. Like I love that. So it's like, hey, post it in the morning so I can listen to it on my ride to work and I don't have to just, go through my entire day and wait for the show to come out. So
Yeah.
fix that. That's the only thing I got to ask. But and also they just bring a completely new thing. I'm never going to be an Olympic gold medalist. I'm never going to be an American record holder. Like that's something like Noah, you can do that. I can't. My days are done there. I'm a commentator. I'll talk about it. So it's like I can't bring that insight that they have. And so it's like I'm not going to try to be them because I can't be them. I'm not. And they're not going to try to be me because they can't be me and they're not. So it's like we're going to do our own type of deal, but high tides raise all ships. And so it's like if they become larger, then that's going to make it better. And so it's like there's other track athletes that I'm sure I would love to see, bring podcasts. Like I'd love to hear like Sha'Carri, have one because like she was talking about after, when she went on NBC Today or whatever, right after she had tested positive in 2021, she came out shortly after saying that was like a pretty big regret of hers, that she wishes that she didn't go on it because there were people in her circle at the time, it sounded like, if I'm remembering the story correctly, that were telling her to go on that show. And, she's 19, 20 at the time and, went through and did that and was like, yeah, I wish I kind of didn't do it. She wanted to control her own narrative. And like, yeah, I'd love for her to tell that story, on a podcast. And it seems like she doesn't, isn't on, social media that much as or in front of the media as much anymore. But I'd love to hear her or some other I'm sure Tara Davis Woodall has some great, podcasts. I'm sure they probably will at some point create a show. They have the personalities for it, her and Hunter. But yeah, I'd love to see more athletes, get into it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Like, could you imagine a Masai Russell, Tara Davis, Sha'Carri Richardson podcast? Like, dude, that would be fire, bro.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, like we saw Masai was on a couple podcasts before. Which one was it? Was it the Pivot or she's on
Yeah,
something?
she did do the pivot. Yeah, she did do the pivot. Yeah.
Yeah. Lele Johnson, like I'd love to see her like on a show. Like they got story, like they're telling good stories. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they have tons of great things to talk about, like on and off the track and stuff that they do. And so, but yeah, I'd love to see it. You mentioned it just a second ago. I mean, you being like the first athlete on the pro circuit, like when I'm thinking about it, like you definitely are, because I think this next, like Noah and Rye and Grant, this is really the second one. I bet you will probably start to see more people do this. Like with being the first person here, it can be exciting, but there can also be like you're taking a risk of not other pro athletes are doing this thing. Like, why did you want to do this? Like we actually never talked about that. Like, why did you want to do this? Like when I saw you say you wanted to, I was like, oh hell yeah, like, this is where we're going. But why? Like, why did you want to do this, man?
Yeah, bro. So I mean, as a kid, I loved Stephen A. Smith, to be honest with you. Like I thought he was so dope. Like I thought it was so cool to cover sports and whatnot. So I studied journalism in college. And even when I was at LSU, I had a podcast when I was at LSU, called the International Podcast. It's still on my YouTube. You know what I mean? Where I was just talking about sports, just telling stories through sport and learning lessons through sport, covering sport. It's, you know, it's a passion of mine. It always has been. So when you had posted that poll, I was like, let me just see if he'll fuck with me. And you know what I mean? So and it worked out, and we still rocking. So that's kind of the why behind it, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious. But yeah, get some like share and like be able to control that own narrative, for you as getting back on the track and everything. So but yeah, 100%. Like I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. And I'll be interested to see for these three athletes that they have, and I guess for us as well, because you were out for much of the time that we've started this podcast. Like what it's going to be like after, like, hey, you're in. Hey, we're going to have this podcast going throughout the season. We see it with like Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show, where after they'll have a great game. He's still on the show. He was on the show the week after he got his injury, and everyone was like, is he going to join? Is he not? Like, after great games, after bad games, you're a Jets fan. You've seen them all. So it's like, that's also something that's interesting of like, you get that inside access of like, hey, Noah, you just set the world lead, in the 400. Like, what's the feeling like right now? Or like, hey, you're seeing these people, people are, you were sick that day, or like you didn't run well. And it's like, oh, I was sick that day. Let me tell you about it. Like that inside access, like during the season that nobody really gets, like that's something that's exciting during the year as well.
Yeah, that's something that I'm actually really, really excited to get into as the season, as the ball rolls and stuff like that, especially with those guys too, Noah, Ryan, and Grant. So, man, look, if you're an athlete watching this, man, and you feel like your voice not being heard, like you have the power to control that. Like you quite literally can get on your platform and share those thoughts and share what you have to say. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, and if I'm an athlete right now, a track athlete, like get in now when there aren't that many track athletes that have podcasts right now. There's literally 4 or 5 if you're including Aaron Brown. So it's like there's 5 athletes that have podcasts. One of them's on here right now. Another one's Aaron, and then 3 of them are all on the same show. There's 3 podcasts, and Aaron's is just like a regular podcast. It's not a track and field one. So if you want to get in, talk about track and field, control your narrative, do it now, because there's going to be a lot. I can feel it. There's going to be a lot of people at some point that are going to come through. So, but it's exciting to see more people control the narratives, and for fans, it's great because you get a lot of inside knowledge that you can't get from just being like in the mix zone and talking to people in there. So it's good. It's good stuff. Now back onto the track for some stuff that we've got going on. Go to the high school circuit. So our boy Quincy Wilson, this kid, I guess he's now like 16 or he's a junior now in high school, runs the second fastest time in high school history in the 600 meters, 1 minute 17.19 seconds. The current high school national record was set by Will Sumner in 2022 with a time of 1:15. I think it was 1:15.29. What are your thoughts right now on this kid Quincy dropping a 1:17 in the 60 in the month of December?
Quincy's not playing around, man. He's not playing around at all. I mean, he had the historic season last year. The kid is obviously still hungry. Obviously, the most talented high school male we've seen probably since Noah Lyles, maybe even more so talented than Noah Lyles was.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go as far as I'd say Quincy Wilson is the number 1 high school track and field prospect that we've ever seen in the history of the world. I mean, he's qualifying for the Olympics as a high school sophomore. Like usually we're talking about people in high school that, if you win the national championship as a sophomore in high school, then you're like a crazy prodigy. Like, oh my God, like you won the national championship at 15, 16. This dude he's winning national championships when he was a freshman. He is now, he's winning, he's like in legitimate contention and has legitimate conversations to win a global medal, like in high school as a junior, which is like we weren't like when we were talking about Noah qualified for the Olympic trials, right? I think even in 2016, he even made, I think, the final in the 100. I think, we had, Sydney McLaughlin who made the Olympics. So it's like, I think he's in that air now. But remember, Sydney McLaughlin made the Olympics as a senior. She didn't do it he did it as a sophomore. And now he'll probably be in that contention to make like an individual team, like as the individual in the 400 this year as a junior. And he's still going through puberty, man. Like this, he's still getting hair on his chest. Like he still ain't got a shave yet. Like wait till this man's like, when he's in a couple of years, like, yeah, he's in my mind, he's definitely the number one prospect that we've seen out of high school. 117 is crazy. Like that's a lot of high schoolers aren't running that in the 500 meters. Like he's doing it as a 6. That's nuts, bro. That's nuts.
Yeah, bro. Kudos to him, man. This kid he's just special, bro. He's just special, man.
What have you done a 600 at all? Like
my first track race ever was a 600. My first event ever was a 600. I remember I ran 128 in my very first event ever. This kid just ran 117.
What's it like? Is that more of a sprint? Like I wasn't asking you like he's beating you type of thing. I was more asking like is it more like sprint or distance? Like where has it changed over of like I don't know if is it more, hey, it's a really long 400 or it's a really short 800? At that point, I'm not sure.
I feel like you got to run it as a sprint for sure.
Okay.
Like that distance, you got to run it as a sprint if you want to put a good time down for sure.
I saw because it was a couple weeks ago when they're talking Cole Hocker versus Fred Curley in the 600. Potentially that'd be an exciting race. I want to see what that goes down. But yeah, I feel that's crazy, which makes me think, hey, I want to see what's Quincy running in the 800 right now. Like if he's running this in the 6, like he's definitely got some range potentially to get up to that 800. Like what could we see from him? Like that he's in those types of conversations. But crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. So it's a lot of great athletes that are coming through, and we'll have to see what he's going to run in these 400s because that's crazy. That's crazy.
Facts.
Awesome. So we got one more topic, and then maybe we'll see if we got anything else. So you see it on social media, the blind rankings. So what I'm going to do, I've got 5 different tracks for you, Noah. I want you to blind rank them based on the greatest indoor track and field facilities. So once you pick your number, you can't change it. It's going to be from 1 to 5. Everyone watching, you've seen them along. So first track that I got for you, Ocean Breeze.
Ocean Breeze, Staten Island, New York. I'll put them at 3.
3? Okay.
3.
Next, I have Clemson.
Clemson, that is the facility of fake ass times. So people go there and run fast. It's not the prettiest facility. I'll put them at 4 though.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
Next one, I have the Armory.
5.
Whoa!
I hate the Armory, bro. Like the warm-up area is just bad and it smells like poop. The lanes are really, really skinny. I mean, the fan atmosphere is nice, but like as the actual competitor, like I don't want to compete under those conditions. So I'll put them at 5.
Okay. Then you have the track at New Balance in Boston.
That's my one spot. I was hoping you was gonna name them. That's my one spot for sure.
Okay, so then your last one, I think you have them at 2, Arkansas.
Perfect, man. Shout out to the Tyson indoor track. I think I have, or at least I had the facility record there, or maybe so. I don't know, but I won a national championship there, so I love that track, man. That track close, near and dear to my heart, man. For sure.
Yeah, that's why I picked it. I went back. I was like, wait, let me go back and see which track it was at when you were there. So, okay. So you said number 1, New Balance. Number 2, Arkansas. Number 3, what you said, Ocean Breeze?
Ocean Breeze.
4, Clemson. 5, Armory?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
I would probably rank it like that. Had it not even been blind, I probably would have still ranked it that way.
Oh, okay. So no one knows track. He knows where he's going at. You know where you're going at. What if we changed it up? Added Albuquerque, New Mexico?
I like Albuquerque's track. I would probably slide them. I'll probably slide them at 3 and bump the other ones down. I like the Albuquerque track. It gets a lot of smut. It gets a lot of slander, but I like that track.
Okay. And then last one. Well, I mean, I got wait. I got chill. We're gonna do this again, so I'm sure. So let me not just throw out all these tracks. I had a good one. Let me hold on. But cool, man. So track and field finally getting on back. I'm sure. I think a lot of the big teams are like starting this next week, like one of those first weeks in January. Is that right? I think if I'm correct.
I think so. I know Kentucky's big invitational is usually like that first weekend back from Christmas break. So I think they'll have their invitational as well as maybe a first meet at Arkansas. So we'll see how it goes, man. But these big hitters, SEC schools and whatnot, are getting on the track now.
There you go. It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fast times coming up, and like I said, we should have some good guests joining us soon. So make sure to tune in. It's going to be great. No, you have any update? You want to update the people on any guests that we have coming up?
Think about. I'm gonna say the Caribbean islands. We're gonna say he's from the Caribbean. He is from the Caribbean. We've seen him in 200s. We've seen him in 400s at a world stage. He's a world champion. You know what I mean? We got an exciting guest coming up, man. So y'all stay tuned for that. You know.
Stay tuned. So thank you everyone for listening and watching along. Been a great episode with us. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Have a good one and peace.
Peace out.